Our homeopathic remedies are prepared from natural sources. Most of them can be classified as remedies coming either from the plant, animal, or the mineral kingdom, isn't it? As important as it is to study the symptoms these remedies produce, as important it is to study the repertory, it is equally important to study the source from which these remedies are prepared from. And that, I believe, where the true science and art of homeopathy lies. Not by just taking the symptoms for its face value, not by roting materia medica, or not by just robotically putting the symptoms in the repertory software, not by just, by hearting pulsatilla, lachesis and phosphorus, what are the keynotes, but understanding remedies from its very source, studying the nature from where this has come. And the idea of studying sources and the idea of studying groups in homeopathy has opened up a whole new horizon for homeopathy, and it makes our materia medica come alive. It's so much more scientific, so much more artistic. It's phenomenal. When we look, for example, the different insect species in nature, what do we observe? What are the characteristics that we see? Firstly, of course, insects is the largest group of species in the animal kingdom. And it's a pity that there are just a handful of homeopathic insect remedies like Apis, Cantharis, at the most Coccus cacti that we use in our practice normally. They are also very less developed. They are all invertebrates and mostly very soft-bodied, fragile and almost defenseless as compared to the larger life forms. Burning, stinging, producing venom are some of the mechanisms with which insects would defend themselves or they would attack themselves. And whether it is the bee or the beetle or the ant, they give a burning, stinging pain to you. So when you look at the repertory and when you go to, let's say, the generalities and look for the rubric burning, smarting pains, you will find several insect remedies. Burning, smarting, secretions, you will find several insect remedies. So while there is a common thread between the characteristics, between the properties, the behavior of the source and the symptoms it produces, Bonning-Gosson, for example, said, grand generalization. What is true to the part is true to the whole. So if there is burning, stinging pain in the joint, it will be there in the head, it will be the characteristic in the fever, it will be the characteristic in the secretion. So what is true to the part is true to the whole of Apis mellifica. But if you look, the burning, smarting pain in generalities, you will not only find Apis, you will find several insect remedies. Clark said that in his dictionary, he incorporated the idea of natural order of each remedy. He gave examples of Crotalus and Arnica. He said that species within a same natural order, within the same group, have some common characteristics. So there is a common thread between what is true to the part and true to the whole within the remedy, but also within the group of the natural order. And hence you see so many insect remedies in the rubric of burning, smarting pains. You will see Vespa, you will see Formica, you will see Coccus, Cantharis, and all in bold marks. So this work of studying remedies in group and what are the group themes was studied further by Scholten. He came up with the periodic table and the mineral kingdom, and Dr. Sankaran, which furthered this work with the sensation method, the kingdom approach. Just like repertory is a tool which schematically organized proving and clinical symptoms, the kingdom approach and the sensation approach is a tool to understand our materia medica, our remedies and our patients at the deepest possible level. Taking this example of insects further, if you see insects, you have this, that they have a very short lifespan and they are very prolific. That means they reproduce very, very fast. They have a great ability to respond and adapt to various environmental changes. You will find insects in every corner of the world possible, right? So they have very short time, very little time, but a lot of things to achieve, So lot of food, lot of reproduction, and lot of sexuality. That's their survival mechanism. Constant, intense activity. A lot has to be achieved in a very short time. So look at the rubrics: abrupt, restless, hurry, haste, activity, desire for, busy, fruitless. You will see a lot of insect remedies. This idea of industriousness and being busy all the time, always on the move all the time, you can see in the nature, no? Just for a moment, think about ants and think about their colonies and ant hills, or just imagine beehives or the termites, how busy they are all the time. These expressions are often expressed in patience as perseverance, diligence, busy, restlessness, and a need to be occupied at all the times. The idea that everything is about food and sex to proliferate, you can see in rubrics. For example, in the repertory, if you go to moral affections want of, you will see, you will see Blata, you will see Cantharis, you will see Mantis religiosa, you will see Pediculus capitis, which is the head lice. If you see the rubrics, shameless, lasciviousness, sexual mania, you will see a lot of insect remedies. If you go to the rubric mind, self-indulgence, you have only 4 remedies in that rubrics, out of which, a couple of them are insect remedies. So what do I mean that short lifespan? It's not about short lifespan. The death is also very, very sudden. How do you kill a mosquito? How do you kill pests? You will call an exterminator, you will crush them, you will mince them, you will smash them, you will make a pulp out of them, isn't it? So if you look at generalities, sudden manifestations, you will see, several insect remedies. If you see the rubric, delusion being crushed, you will see Culex musca, which is the mosquito that, it came up in the proving very strongly. Fear of death especially by suffocation or violent death, you will see some insect remedies there. Many insects are considered as pests by humans. Insects commonly, they are regarded as pests. They are parasitic, the lice, bed bugs. They transmit diseases like mosquitoes and flies. They damage structures like the termites, or they even destroy agricultural goods, for example, locusts. Now, what do I mean? What do you mean by pest? The word pest literally means anything or anybody that is persistently annoying. The word infest means to invade something. In the, very interestingly, Culex musca proving, some of the provers came up with symptoms like that: neighbors are intruding into my space, they're interfering in my privacy, and I cannot tolerate and I need to fight back. Another symptom that came up in the proving was feeling exploited, troubled, taken for granted, and wanting to retaliate back. If you look at the repertory, delusion, I think reliable repertory, if you go to the mind section, delusion invaded one's spaces. Out of the 13-14 remedies that are there, you will find Culex there, which is so interesting. Now, what you can also see is the overarching themes of the animal kingdom. For example, when you see 2 dogs fighting, what do you see? You see hierarchy. We see that, who is the alpha dog? There's always who is dominating, who is the, upper dog, and who is the dog who is the lower dog. And same phenomena you see in the bees. You see a very, very strict hierarchy. You see there is a worker bee, there is a, slave bee, there is the queen bee. And there's also a strict competition between the new queen and the old queen. And when the new queen has to come to power, has to take the throne, it has to kill the old queen. So the overarching animal themes you will find in dogs, in bees, in beetles, in butterfly, in mollusks, in everything. You will see the issue of survival. You will see the issue of one-upmanship. You will see competition. You will see survival of the strongest. You will see me versus you. So this is what we see in common. And in that common animal characteristic, you will find what are the group characteristics. For example, insects, we spoke so many group characteristics. There are some other group characteristics of insects. For example, they're more narcissistic. There's kill, mutilate, desire too. They are very, very impulsive. Kill, desire, cut, mutilate, desire, a lot of this. Self-destructive. Cruelty, impulsiveness, all of these are other group characteristics of the insect group. So in summary, what I'm trying to get to is that when we study our materia medica, our remedies at the deepest possible level, we study its generals, we study its characteristics, we study what has come up in the proving. When we study all the similar remedies in the same group, we understand its soul, and when we match that soul with the deepest possible sensations and characteristics and generals of our patient, when we match it at this level, we have the similinum, and then we can be very, very sure of how that remedy is going to help our patients. So some of the latest tools that we have, the kingdom approach, the sensation approach, the superclass concept, all these are tools that kind of further our knowledge, that further our grounding and help us understand our remedies and our patients in much, much, much deeper level. These remedies, these tools, they not only enhance our practice, but they also simplify our practice. You have many, many ways to confirm our prescription. You can confirm through the characteristic, through the miasm, through the kingdom, through the superclass, or through the keynotes, and then you can synergistically, in an integrative fashion, prescribe our remedies. And when we do practice this way, this makes us an integrated, holistic homeopathic practitioner. You know, and because I'm giving the examples of insects, I can say that this has really transformed, metamorphosized my practice, and I hope you join this movement and understand our remedies not at a superficial level, practice homeopathy not at a superficial level, but at its deepest scientific, artistic level. Thank you.